What happens when one of Hollywood's most respected actors walks onto a daytime talk show expecting a friendly chat, only to be blindsided by a host who crosses every line imaginable? It only took one comment from Denise Welch to turn a promotional interview into the most explosive walkout in British daytime TV history. Liam Neeson arrived at the Loose Women's studio that morning with nothing but good intentions. He was there to talk about his new film, share some stories, and connect with the audience. He'd done interviews like this hundreds of times, but within minutes of sitting on that familiar purple sofa, it became painfully clear that this would not be a normal interview. The panel that day included Denise Welch leading the discussion, along with Nadia Sawalha, Kay Adams, and Janet Street Porter. The crowd was excited, cameras were rolling, the air felt light. At first, Denise opened warmly, smiling as she introduced Liam and mentioned his film. But there was something sharp in her tone, a tension that didn't match her words. "Liam, lovely to have you here," she said. "Now, you've played a lot of action heroes over the years. Tell me, do you think that's because you're compensating for something? I mean, you're getting on a bit now, aren't you?" The room shifted. Nadia's eyes widened. Kay looked down. Even the air seemed to pause. Liam gave a small laugh, polite but stunned. "Well, I just enjoy the roles. The audience seems to enjoy them too." But Denise leaned in. "But don't you think it looks a bit silly? A man your age still running around like a superhero? When are you going to step aside and let younger actors take the lead?" Janet gently tried to redirect, praising Liam's range, from Schindler's List to action films. Liam thanked her, clearly relieved. But Denise wasn't finished. She wanted something: attention, reaction, shock, something. She leaned forward, voice lower, more pointed. "Let's talk about your personal life. You've been widowed for some time now. Are you lonely? Have you thought about dating again? Or are you just too old for all that now?" The studio fell silent. Not TV silence, real silence. The kind that feels heavy. The kind that hurts. Nadia covered her mouth. The audience stiffened. Kay's jaw dropped. Liam's expression changed instantly. The warmth disappeared. His voice was calm, but there was steel in it. "I don't think that's an appropriate question, Denise." "Oh, come on," she said, waving her hand. "This is what we do here. We have real conversations." "There's a difference between real conversations and disrespect," Liam replied. Kay and Nadia both tried to steer things back to his film, but Denise cut them off again. She pushed harder, almost like she wanted to provoke a reaction. "Is that why you do these action films? To feel young again? To feel virile?" The audience gasped. People actually murmured out loud. Liam sat very still, hands folded tightly. "I came here to talk about my work," he said quietly. "I didn't come here to have my personal grief turned into entertainment." "Oh, don't be dramatic," Denise scoffed. And that was it. The moment everything changed. "The truth," Liam said, "is that you're being incredibly rude. And this is the most unprofessional interview I've ever been part of." Janet nodded, openly agreeing. Kay added that Denise needed to apologize. Nadia called the question cruel. But Denise doubled down. "I'm just asking what people at home are thinking." "No one at home is thinking that," Kay said firmly. "No one." Liam slowly stood up. The studio froze. He removed his microphone, calm but deliberate. His voice was low, controlled, but full of quiet power. "I've worked in this industry for over 40 years. I've dealt with tough interviews, difficult subjects. But I have never been spoken to with such disregard for basic human decency." Denise tried to interrupt. He held up a hand. "You asked about my wife," he continued. His voice caught slightly. The room softened. "Losing her was the most painful experience of my life. It is something I live with every single day. And you thought it was appropriate to use that as content." Nadia wiped tears. Several audience members were crying. Even crew members looked shaken. "You wanted a moment," Liam said. "Well, this is your moment. But it's not the one you wanted." He placed the microphone gently on the table. Janet stood and apologized on behalf of the show. Nadia apologized through tears. Kay touched his arm and said he was right to leave. He thanked each of them quietly. Then he looked at Denise one last time. "You should be ashamed of how you spoke to me. And if this is what you call real conversation, then I truly feel sorry for you." The audience applauded, loud, sustained, emotional. And Liam Neeson walked off the stage. Denise called after him, desperate now. "Wait, Liam, can't we talk about this?" He turned once more. "No, Because you don't want to talk. You want to provoke. And I will not be part of that. He left the studio. Calm. Steady. Dignified. Back on stage, the rest of the panel looked furious at Denise. They returned from commercial break with Liam's seat empty. Kay addressed the audience, apologizing. Janet supported her. Nadia spoke about human decency. All three of them looked at Dennis. And Denise shrugged. I stand by what I did. If he couldn't handle tough questions, that's on him. The audience booed. Loudly. Not TV booing. Real, visceral disgust. Nadia's voice broke as she responded. He wasn't being weak. He was being human. And you weaponized his grief for entertainment. That isn't journalism. That's cruelty. The applause that followed was thunderous. The show continued, but it was ruined. The atmosphere was cold. The trust between the hosts was broken. Online, the clips spread instantly. Liam Neeson trended worldwide. Viewers demanded apologies, accountability, consequences. And through it all, the image that would be remembered wasn't the walkout itself. It was Liam Neeson standing up with quiet dignity, refusing to be part of something disrespectful. No shouting, no insults, no drama. Just a man choosing dignity over spectacle. And walking away. What happened after the cameras stopped? Rolling was something no one in the building could ignore. The atmosphere backstage felt thick, almost heavy, as though everyone was speaking in lowered voices out of respect for a wound that had been opened. Word of Liam Neeson's walkout traveled through the studio like electricity. People who hadn't even been in the room began asking what happened, whispering, glancing toward the stage doors. But Liam was already gone. He didn't wait for a management statement, nor for anyone to try and smooth things over. He simply left, choosing peace over confrontation. In the panel dressing room, the tension was unbearable. Nadia sat on the sofa, eyes still red from tears, replaying the conversation in her mind. She couldn't wrap her head around how quickly something so routine had turned into something so cruel. Kay paced back and forth, shaking her head, frustrated and unsettled. Janet sat completely still, her jaw tight, her silence a signal of deep disapproval. Denise sat alone at her dressing table, staring into the mirror. Her reflection looked different now, harder, defensive, even confused. For the first time, the reality of what she had done began to crack through her conviction. The moment had played again in her head, the questions, the tone, the reaction. But instead of regret, she clung to a single thought. I was just doing my job. She told herself that again and again. Meanwhile, the producers were in damage control mode. Phone calls were being made to Liam's publicist. Statements were being drafted, and the network executives were already bracing for the media storm they knew was coming. Clips from the episode had been recorded and uploaded online, faster than anyone could have predicted. The public opinion was instant and overwhelmingly clear. Viewers were outraged, not just disappointed, but genuinely angry. Within hours, hashtags supporting Liam began trending. Thousands of comments called Denise's behavior heartless and uncalled for. Fans who had admired her for years now questioned her judgment, her empathy, her professionalism. Some demanded that she be removed from the show. Others simply expressed sadness that something meant to be entertaining had turned into something painful and personal. Liam, for his part, stayed silent publicly. He didn't need to defend himself. His dignity, his composure, his words on that stage had already spoken for him. He had left with grace. And that, more than anything, was what people admired most. That he knew when to walk away.